Thank you. Hi, everyone. We're Team 6, and before we get into the product, we need to talk about why it needs to exist. The music industry has never been more connected, so why are artists lonelier than ever? Behind all the streaming numbers, the algorithms, the advice on how to go viral, there's a real problem. So many musicians feel completely alone that 25% don't know anyone else in the industry, and we all crave real human connection. Sometimes you just need to be in a room with somebody who gets it, who gets what you do, who gets where you are in life. But there are so many barriers to finding and meeting those peers. The problem isn't talent, it's isolation, and no existing tool is solving it. We've spoken to artists about it, we've seen it, we've heard this theme throughout this conference all weekend. So we've built something to fix it.
We are now super excited to introduce to you all Commusicly. Commusicly connects artists in real life so they can support each other while navigating the complexity of the music industry. If you're an artist, you might be thinking right now, oh no, another item in my endless to-do list, another app to keep up with. But this is not the case with Commusicly. We just ask you some initial questions to understand your needs that you can actually answer on a voice note. We combine that with Charmetic data to understand your current stage. You choose your preferred messaging platform, and then you will soon be hearing from us with curated in-person group meetings with other artists. For instance, let us introduce you to Admire, an amazing artist from Barcelona and the very first user of Commusicly.
Admire logs into the platform and gets prompted with 2 questions that she answers through voice notes.
I want to find healthier ways to sustain myself through the highs and lows. I love creating music videos and I direct them myself, so I believe I could be a valuable advisor to other artists.
Based on the voice note, we get to know Admire and find her Chartmetric profile. She sees a summary about what she's seeking advice for and where she's happy to help. We find similar artists in similar industries and maturity, compare their wishes and schedules, and find them a spot at a table in a restaurant in Barcelona. From the 2 suggested options, Admire picks Tuesday morning, and we confirm via her favorite platform.
So why us specifically? So Commusicly puts artists in a room based on compatibility. So all of our meetings are intentional and data matched. We understand that social media can be very intimidating. So if you see an artist follow account, you may not want to reach out to them, and there's some power dynamics there. So we want to remove all of that on the back end and do the work for you. Most importantly, we understand that artists are wearing so many hats in their careers, and we don't want to add to that. Therefore, with Chartmetric data, all we need is a conversation, and our AI chatbot meets you where you are.
In the 24 hours we had, we reached out to the community and received feedback directly from our target market, which are emerging musicians. They reiterated the themes of isolation and loneliness, as well as commenting on how barriers to the music industry were their main cause of feeling the way they did. Out of that sample, we received a high take-up rate. The response was super positive, and they said they definitely used Commusicly.
So how do we fund it? So the platform will be free for artists always. That's non-negotiable. Everyone else pays for proximity, whether that's whether that's relevance, whether that is partnerships. Venue commission would be a stable baseline that would scale with the usage. And the industry partnerships and data insights not found elsewhere will be the upside. Data stays anonymized and aggregated, but it feeds back into the community too. Artists get to see what's trending in their genre and what others are thinking about. When it comes to the rollout, the cold start problem is real, as matches only get interesting with critical mass per city. So we start small, invitation only to start, 1 city first, get it right, then grow. And those first artists do the work for us. If the experience is good, they'll become advocates. We don't launch publicly until we have enough artists in the city to make matches meaningful. The problem is real, the demand is validated, and the model works without ever charging an artist a penny. Connecting artists by building community, that's Commusicly. Thank you.
Excellent timing. Great job, guys. Wonderful. All right, let's get our judges up to the stage. All right, so we have, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's start. Can we start with Aaron?
Hey guys. Awesome. I loved it. I don't have any questions. Super thorough. Yeah, I had one question about monetization, which you answered at the end. So I'm going to pass it to somebody else.
Excellent. We love to see it. All right. Let's see. Ahmed, do you have a question?
I do. I'm curious about how you guys landed on this problem. Like where did you guys receive feedback on understanding like this is what we want to tackle?
I guess various places, and I can let others speak to this as well. But I know that I've noticed it come up a few times over this weekend alone from some speakers. I think it was perhaps unheard on the first day that mentioned that this was that the sort of loneliness was coming up as a theme through one of their surveys that they had run, and we've seen it through various other surveys, as well as on a personal level, knowing artists that perhaps aren't necessarily looking for mentorship at levels sort of more successful, but actually that peer mentorship space, being able to find people at a sort of similar level and just being able to share struggles, what you want to learn and things like that. There's a lot of networking events for people in tech, but it's not necessarily quite the same for musicians.
Excellent. I think we can do one more. Miriam, Maureen, or Stephanie, do any of you have a question?
I do.
Excellent. Go for it.
I actually had two-parter. One, you mentioned the rollout kind of targeting cities, and once you have that critical mass kind of going live, do you have any specific cities or regions in mind? And then the other part of that question is, would you guys consider any virtual connections and or travel when people are in those cities visiting, they could turn on and like meet people there?
I guess I will answer the second question first, if that's okay. I think the online community aspect and doing it virtually, I think, of course, that is there's a space for that, and I think it would eventually grow to that. As we can see from this weekend, it's something that a lot of people engage with. I think initially, that the real life aspect is quite important. I think that's one of the things that I think we identified as just being it's an important thing for people just to have those like in-person experiences to meet people, but it absolutely doesn't preclude having the online experiences as well. We've just kind of focused on this as the initial MVP, I suppose. And I think as well, a lot of brands are focusing on sort of in-person activations and so on at the moment, and just kind of getting, it's the post-COVID effect, isn't it? Everyone's sort of craving that human connection in person. So that's kind of why we've gone this way. And in terms of locations, I think for the rollout, we would focus on a major city, perhaps London, perhaps elsewhere, but with the idea that a lot of artists do have, or many artists do have connections, whether that's within their genre or friends, peers, and so on. They're more likely to have those within a major city. So actually being able to roll out in smaller places is where we would like to get to quite quickly, and being able to provide these communities of people within areas that aren't normally served by this, basically.